May my mind unlock the memories that created these insecurities. Surface so I can face it, then replace it with self-love, self-healing. Sit still while I do the revealing. She. I am Shamika Harris. I am a writer, a spoken word artist, an entrepreneur, a woman that is inspiring herself while she's inspiring others. I think it's amazing how you can take your life trauma and just put it into an artistic way. So that's what I do with my writing, my spoken word, and also as far as incorporating into short films and storytelling and using your body art. So I incorporate all of that under my writing and just building it under one umbrella to help heal myself and help heal others. My upbringing was very interesting as, as far as, being from New London, Connecticut. I grew up in a place called Crystal Avenue. The building I live in was the biggest building. We thought we was all that because we was the biggest building. So we was lit, like we was off the chain, like that was our building. It was the cleanest building, which it was the cleanest building. So it was A building, B building, C building. It was quite interesting. We was just surrounded by those three buildings. That's all you knew. If you live in Crystal Avenue, you knew those three buildings. And it was one, I know growing up, one rule: if you're not from Crystal Avenue, you can't come in here. If you're not from here, you can't step in here. Or if you step in there, you got to step in there with somebody who lives there. The most famous game was definitely knocking on the doors and leaving and just running. I mean, they were called it nigger knocking. Man, we used to work, knock on Miss Willa. She was an elderly lady, and I'm telling you, it used to be so funny. Listen to her, and it's like I don't know how she knew who kids they were. Not, oh, I'm gonna tell you. I'm like, how the hell she know it was us? Like that woman, it used to be, I'm telling you, you can get a good laugh, go knock on Miss Willa's door. I mean, she's like she'd be standing there waiting for you by the door. That was definitely fun growing up there, as far as with games and stuff. But also there was the other side of Crystal. I would say that the biggest thing that affects myself growing up there was definitely the drugs and the violence and the fact that there wasn't much to do. Like, being that young age, it's like, okay, it's just these three buildings. What else? What else? But I remember always as a youngin' then, there's always, I would keep in my mind, there's always something outside of these three buildings. Always. So right now I'm in Crystal Avenue where I grew up, and I can honestly say that it feels different. It feels different. It's nothing here. This is the building right here that I grew up in. 48. This is the A building. This is where I grew up right here. This is where everything happened. This is where I'm from. It's said your environment builds you, molds you, sometimes control you. Challenging times, it can hold you. Know that it's your roots, grounded to the city that shaped you. Stay centered, so whenever you walk, it won't break you. Humble yourself. Remember where you came from. A bittersweet relationship with the city that built this shit. I now create peace with it. Environment. Long-term effect. Environment. Behavior. Motivation. Environment. Influence. Mood. Environment. Depression. Agitation. Environment. Toxicity. Trauma. Events. Environment. genetic influence, identity, environment, economics, poverty, environment, safe, stress, environment. Wake up to see what's around you, environment. Altogether, she had 5 kids. And the first 2 oldest, which is myself and my brother, we have the same father, and the 3 youngest have the same father. So I grew up in the home with my stepfather and the rest of my siblings. And my mom worked a lot, really independent. That's all she did was work, 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 work. My stepfather also worked as well. But there was definitely, I felt like growing up there was definitely division in the home between myself, my brother, and well, at that time, my younger sister. I definitely felt like there was a difference in between treatment. I'm not sure. I used to think maybe because it wasn't my father. And of course, you know, being the eldest, you have to make sure you're doing, you know, what you're supposed to be doing as far as, you know, setting examples for your siblings. So being the eldest was, to me, was like a job. It was like a job, you know. It's like, you know, if something's not done in the house, you know, it falls on you. But I definitely felt like there was a difference between, there was, you know, that my experience, there was definitely a difference in treatment, how we were treated. And that definitely played an effect on my emotions, definitely. Besides the differences that I felt like or played a little bit with between myself and my brother and the younger ones who had, you know, the separate fathers. I could say my stepfather was dope though. I felt like I can talk to him actually more than my mom. She did 3 to 11. That was her shift, like 3 to 11. So from the afternoon till night, mom's at work. I know sometimes she would do doubles, so you wouldn't see her until the next morning or even the next afternoon because I would be at school. So yeah, not having the connection as far as seeing her because, you know, of the work dynamics and the job, and having that wedge between us, the job, as far as, yeah, you got to take care of home, but I just felt like, you know, time is definitely important when it comes to raising kids and knowing your kids and spending that time, you know. Yes, sneakers and stuff is cool, material works, but the time was everything. I never understood my mom. I've always tried my hardest to understand her, but I never understood her. She's very fun, very artistic, creative. Made the simple things, you know, when we did spend time, made the simple things, just like driving by the beach. You know, little outings like that will hype me up, like, yo, we going by the beach. Like, she's actually taking us, you know, we're driving by the beach. So I definitely value that time that she did put in. I definitely value that. Street smarts with a heart of gold. I was told to never fold. Took time to heal myself. Doing better now, I can feel myself. Heart open now, don't have to shield myself. I took my time to heal myself. Spirit kept me, now it's time to reveal myself. They would have, when they did have like events for the kids, it would be like college students coming in tutoring us on homeworks. Some did it for credit, some did it because their heart was really there. And thank God, I was blessed with tutors that actually care. So besides that, they would have like block parties that every summer. You have some that do care about the youth. They will be out there and, inspiring us to do activities. And then growing up, creative arts was huge. It was. So a lot of crafts and creative arts and music. Music impacted my childhood a great deal. So I grew up in the era of Monica, Brandy, Lauryn Hill. Baby, that's just why. What? Who didn't like that song? The guys walking around with a boombox on their on their shoulders. You have the ciphers, people freestyling. I feel like that's where I started writing and just dreaming, big dreams at a young age, just listening to music. Music was like an escape. It's like being in a whole nother world other than where I was. It definitely got me through a lot. But I feel like that's where the writing started. The writing definitely started with the music. I am pieces of broken glass from my kitchen, bonded together by your existence. I am sweet coffee in the morning, embraced by your caffeine that keeps me going. I am midnight conversations. The words I speak raises vibrations. I am the golden lioness to embrace you with my presence. I am the raw in the jungle you hear beyond worlds. I am the darkness who's not afraid to walk blind. I am the woman who speaks her truth. I am the divine. I am the light that guides you to see. I am that I am, authentically, she. Oh, we have an interesting story. He was 16 when I actually met him. Him and I had a mutual friend, and this mutual friend, I consider her at that time my sister, like more than beyond best friends, my sister. She had so happened to bring him over, and I had walked down the stairs one morning, and I'm like, who the hell is this? Sitting on a chair. Who is this? And she said, oh, Shamika, this is Mohammed. I was like, hey. I was like, okay, who are you? And it's so funny because I didn't really care for him too much. I know that wasn't right for me to judge him, but I didn't really care for him too much because I'm just like, okay, who's this? Who are you? So I had walked into their conversation and I heard him talking, and I listened to, people's tones and how the mannerisms, how they carry themselves. And what got me to zone in on him a little more was the way he carried himself. The conversation was about trading stocks. And I just asked him, I just said that, I was like, you trade stocks? And that was amazing to me because young, black, growing up in the projects, I don't even know what the stock exchange is. And it was so intriguing to me to, pick his brain, like, what more do you know? So that's, how we started conversating. He was in my home. I walked downstairs and we just started a whole conversation. He gave me a little mini session about the different stocks that you can buy in the news. He always had a newspaper, so he had a newspaper there. And I didn't know what he was talking about, but it sounded good to me. It sounded good to me. So that's how we actually met. We met through a mutual friend. And soon as we started, talking, we just automatically clicked. We had a lot in common, but not. We were like the opposites, but we had like a lot in common, if that makes sense. He was very a spiritual man, which I thought was dope. Dope. He grew up in a home of Islam, which I've never heard of that until I've met him. So I've learned a lot from him. a lot. And soon after meeting him, I mean, we just clicked. I mean, like, that was like my best friend. That was definitely my soulmate. He was definitely my soulmate. And our connection, it just happened like fireworks. And kids were talked about early. I found out I was pregnant on my birthday, my 18th birthday. I was 4 months pregnant with my son.
Lame. You are so lame. I was dying.
All right, so what is it that you miss the most in New London?
Oh my boy. Family. Close, everything closer. I know people. I'm known there. Everybody know me.
London growing up in my time was, nobody had phones. So nobody had phones. So how we got in touch with, we had beepers. We had beepers, yep. So either they come and knocking at your door or they beeping you. I'm serious. We didn't have phones. And it was stagnant. And yeah, I was fearful, leaving because I've never left and took a big jump like that. But, I had faith and know that everything was all was going to be well if I did just that. And, coming here to Charlotte was definitely a breath of fresh air. It was some getting used to some things, a little different, of course, but it was worth it. It was worth the move. In the middle of healing, my soul called out to you, helping to create this masterpiece. This is what all the lessons is for. Shedding skin, dropping no baggage, walking through divine doors. You told me I got you and I trust that. I wanted to whisper these thoughts in your ears. I knew you liked that. You love all the broken pieces because falling for you don't feel like falling. You told me to come home, I hear you calling. With divine open arms, I thought I'd whisper these thoughts to you. Even though we both experienced heartbreaks, having the courage to love again, you helped silence the demons in my mind. Trust in divine time. You were worth the wait and faith. I opened my heart again, all the energy. They came back to me within you. Karma laws. I thought I'd whisper these thoughts to you. True love is within me and you. You water me, I water you. It's like an even exchange garden. As we grow together, it's divinely ordained. We'll get through stormy weather because everyone in this world is blessed with love. Root kisses in my forehead, that's what I call third eye love. Following the God within, I thought I'd whisper these thoughts to you. I'm a goddess. I know my worth, and you do too. We definitely planned Najee. We definitely wanted a boy and a girl. Throughout all the bickering and the fussing and the fighting, throughout all that, the state got involved and they put protective orders on us. When before I had Najee, I got my place. So I was already set up, and he furnished the whole spot. I mean, we got everything that we needed for the house, Najee. I mean, we were stocked up. So I was excited about that. And right after I moved in, that's when Najee came. It was exciting until that started settling in a little more when it comes to time. We were both going back and forth with, okay, who's going to take him, and I need to work, and you're going to school, and it was time management. That's when the argument started because of time management. So the state ended up pitting the protective order on us. We could not be around each other at all. So we had to have a third party to exchange for visitation with my son. That's how toxic it got. So we end up getting to a really bad argument. One of the girls that he was talking to, and we were still involved, she ended up coming knocking on my door. coming to the home where we stayed. You know, I called him up and he's like, oh, I don't know who that was, you know, denying everything. He ended up coming over and we got to a big argument. And I was so heated. I didn't know how to express how I felt at that time. He wanted to leave and I wasn't done talking. I was just like pissed off because I'm like, you know, more females, more shit. So I ended up throwing something at his car, and the neighbor ended up calling the cops. They asked what happened, and, you know, I told them what happened. She's like, okay, you know, if we hear anything else, you know, whatever, you know, we'll get in touch. I thought everything was over. Weeks went by. She come knocking at the door. She said, Shamika, can you step out? I said, yeah. She said, you remember that warrant? She said, can you come down here? I said, no, I'm good right here. She said, you remember that warrant that I told you about? I said, yes. She said, well, it came through. I'm going to need you to turn around. She gets me in the car and she was like, well, where's Muhammad? I said, I don't know. I'm not supposed to be around him. He ended up coming in and turning himself in. And we was in the same cell. Well, the cell right next to each other. You know, they left us in there and he's talking to me through the wall. He said, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay. I was just crying because I'd never been arrested. And he said, you all right, you good, like, you know, we good. He was like, I love you, like, you know, they're gonna let you out, you know, you're good. If I gotta do time, it is what it is. I'll take, you know, everything. I'll take the fault. We both went to jail. I went to jail for almost 2 years. I had 2 years like over my head. I did the 2 weeks and he did the 3 months. I waited on him, wrote him letters. Couldn't really do too much because we were involved, you know, with the case and stuff. But when he got out, he came to where I was staying and we just missed each other, you know, and just like, okay, this got to stop. Like, let's get do our best to be the best parent that we can be, you know, and take advantage of this eye awakener and get the protective orders modified to where we can actually be around each other. But we had planned to have, when he got out, that's when you know, you hear those stories with women saying like, oh, I know when I got pregnant. Oh, yes, that night. You know, when he came home, yes. And probably like a week and a half later, I end up finding out, literally a week and a half, like almost not too much of that 2 weeks mark, I found out that I was pregnant with my second child.
But when I was like, when we first moved down here, I did not like it at all. I was so depressed.
What didn't you like about it?
It was just like we were so far from everything. We couldn't walk. Our friends, we didn't know nobody. It was just so boring. Then like the stuff that happened to us when we were down here, I was like, this is not it. It's not. It was just so country. I was just like, this is depressing. I don't know how people do it down here. I couldn't.
Yeah, but you made friends, Nelia.
Yeah. But
you made friends, and you make friends quick. Like you made, oh my, I made such and such.
That is not Jay,
yes,
Mom.
yes,
That is not Jay.
yes, you, it's you, because you made friends, Matt, Kyra.
Oh yeah.
Duh, and you still friends with Kyra.
Okay, now the project, I feel like.
Well, look at the lights.
Oh yeah, they do got the lights. I didn't see these.
I like the stars one.
Yeah, those are cute. I don't think I'll go in my room though.
I know the clips right there.
You going?
Yeah.
Alright. Remember how you told me how you said you saw that I was laying down in my sleep.
Mhm.
And it took a while for me to I don't know how to explain it. It took a while for me to really understand that he was gone.
Mhm. So how is it affecting you, like now, being a teenager, that your father is not here physically?
Well, I thought it was like, it's been a long time ago since it passed. I thought the pain would go away, but it really didn't.
So I know we had conversations about, like, when you said you get married and who's gonna walk you down the aisle. I said, your brother. Your brother. You know how tight you guys are, and that's one thing I love about you and us, like as a triangle. I love that about you guys, how tight you guys, because you guys remind me of me and my brother. We have this conversation all the time. And yeah, your father's not here physically, but your brother got you. That's a day that, if I wanted to forget, I couldn't. At this time, we were co-parenting well. I was still in love with him. That was my first love. One of my coworkers like, oh, Meek, let's, I know a sports bar, like, we can go out, let me know. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, yeah, I really don't get out much. Yeah, sure. Why not? I didn't plan on staying out, but I got so drunk and I barely drank. I mean, I wanted to have fun. I was like, like letting my hair down, relaxing, chilling, having adult time. So I ended up staying out and staying over my homeboy's house. And he was like, yo, you cool? Like I said, I'm too sick to go anywhere. Like I'm thrown up and everything. And he was like, nah, you good, you good. All I remember the next morning was me jumping up like, oh shit, I gotta check on my kids. Like a call on my phone, it's like ringing off the hook, ringing off the hook, ringing off the hook. And it was my mom. And she said, you need to get back to Crystal because something, Muhammad got stabbed. I'm like, what? I didn't know how serious it was until I got up to the front of the apartment complex of the buildings. And I wasn't thinking anything. I was like, okay, I see yellow tape. Okay, so there has to be something bigger than just a fight. I asked what happened. She said, they got into a fight. I said, who got into a fight? She said, your cousin and your baby's father. So I went outside, just, pacing back and forth because they wouldn't tell me anything. When I called back the hospital again, they told me, we can't release any information. You have to come up here. I said, okay. So I went outside to smoke, and not even 5 minutes after being outside, I just see a car just pull up to my mom's house fast. And 2 detectives jump out. They asked me, are you Shamika Harris? I said, yes. In my mind, I'm still have my children's father on my brain. Like, I'm not thinking anything else. I'm like, yes. Where were you last night? I'm like, oh, what the fuck does that matter? Like, out with some friends. Why? I answered I'm like, what the fuck does that matter? They was like, well, right now we're investigating a homicide. I dropped. I literally dropped. I told my brother, I said, look, I don't know what you're doing. I'm taking the kids. We're out. I can't take too much of this. I feel like, 2007, 2009, 2 years, it still felt so fresh. And it still felt like that open wound that was still, and me being there was like the open wound and them throwing, like the events, like throwing salt on the wound. And I said, being there in New London, it's like, it felt like, okay, this is where I got hurt. and I don't feel like I can heal where I got hurt. I packed the truck up, put everything in storage, and we was out. Nobody knew where I was at for 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was gone. No one knew where I was at. And then I finally opened up and told my mom I lived in North Carolina. And her first reaction was like, why didn't you say anything? You know, like, why you didn't tell anyone? I said, because I didn't want to be influenced. I didn't want anyone to influence what I know God was telling me to do. I didn't want to be influenced. And yeah, that's how I transitioned to Connecticut to North Carolina. And in between that time, I had stopped writing. It was a while since I picked up a pen, but I was doing some writing. When someone buys my book, they can definitely expect to go on a roller coaster ride, to feel each traumatic event, to feel the emotions of happiness, joy, pain, the cycles of life. You would definitely, it's going to invoke all of those emotions. Hitting rock bottom, getting midway, then going high, you know, just letting your hands go up and riding down the roller coaster. Definitely inspirational. Definitely inspirational. I would definitely say the core is not to give up. Building up my foundation so when I walk on it, it's stable. Took time out to heal myself because my vibration was a little unstable. Like a table with a screw missing. I had to dive deep inside to see where the treasure lay. Although I went through a garden filled of thrones, I was poked. I was triggered. Oh, but oh, what did I find? A young girl waiting for myself to sit down and come and talk to her. She sat there with flowers in her hands, welcoming myself with open arms. She had tears in her eyes. She was surprised. She was surprised that I decided to come in. She showed myself all the scars on her heart. She told myself stories and how it all fell apart. She said, each relationship, she tried to get my attention. Oh, but oh, that last breakup, she said, I knew you would listen. I sat there with tears in my eyes. As she stood up and grabbed my hand, she said, I needed you. I needed you to come in. I needed you to come in and hug me. I needed you to come in and show me support. I needed you to come in and show me what I was missing. To come in and show me I didn't have to look outside for love. And in this meeting, you need me and I need you. So let's heal this thing. And in response to my inner child, I said, I am that mother that you needed. I am that best friend you always wanted. I am that love that you needed. I am those tears that was wiping away. I am the one that picked you up. I am the one that picked you up when you felt like you couldn't make it. So let's heal this thing. Let's heal this thing. Let's heal it together. Let's fill these holes with self-love. Let's grow together. I said, building up my foundation so when I walk on it, it's stable. Took time to heal myself because my vibration was a little unstable. And now, we are connected like cables.